All right, guys, today is Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. So today I'm getting ready to get started. I'll see if I can get the 55 back running with a new fuel pump. And hopefully this carburetor's still where it was when I took it off. And I'm going to put the vacuum gauge back on it after it warms up and readjust this rear metering screw because it should be fine now. And after that, it pretty much should be done with that side of it. And I can move on to other things on the car. So one of the things I'm trying to decide right now is I bolted the carb on. I haven't started the car yet, so the gaskets are still good. I don't like resin carb gaskets at all. Even if I bolt them down, the car runs for 5 minutes and shut it off. I still wouldn't use the carb gasket. It's just me, but this has not been started yet, so I feel like I can still use it and be okay. Anyway, I'm thinking about putting my nitrous kit on because I bought a brand new NOS Power Shot kit for this car back in probably 2015 from Summit, and it's never been, the bottle's never been filled. And when I mocked everything up on this car when it was in its raw metal stage, I had everything kind of set up and knew the way I was going. And I built this little bracket here out of some little thin, well, it's not thin, it's plate. It's kind of thick, but anyway, I built this to mount the brackets on, or the solenoids on. But now I'm having a hard time figuring out how I'm going to route it, and I don't want to buy anything extra. I just want to use what I have here. So I'm trying to figure out what I need to do. When I was first mocking up this car, I still have it actually, I have a Performer RPM air gap intake manifold. So the carb mounting area and the runners are up off the bottom of the intake. So you can actually stick your hand underneath that. So when I did this, those lines were actually running underneath that part of the intake. So it was a lot cleaner looking. And then I ended up during the build deciding to go with the Performer RPM so I could put a front oil fill on it because the air gap does not have that provision. So when I was trying to mock all this stuff back up, I just didn't like it. I couldn't figure out a nice way to run it with the stuff I had then. But I'm going to give it another go basically. But anyway, it just kind of jumbled up my sanitary engine compartment is all it did. So I'm going to go ahead and try to figure out how to make it work. I still have all the fittings and everything I need to hook everything up, but I kind of thought if I was going to put it on there, I better do it now before, the carb gets fuel in it and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. I got the new fuel pump here. Warrantied out my other one at O'Reilly's, so I have my new one here. They kept the box. They put the warranty one in, or the warranted one in it, or put it in it. But anyway, this is a NOS Power Shot kit, brand new from Summit, and this is just a Power Shot, which means it is a plate kit, but it's non-adjustable. It's just 125 shot. So whenever I hit the fun button, it's 125 horsepower of fun added on top of what the car already has. So that is very, very cool stuff. I've had several nitrous cars, and I love that stuff. Very first time I put nitrous on a car, it was like every time I built another street car, it had nitrous on it because I fell in love with that stuff. It is a lot of fun, as long as you keep your timing retarded, which I did not do on one occasion. So that is the plan. I may go ahead and put the nitrous on it, but I need to check everything out up here and see if I can get the lines routed the way I want and that kind of stuff. So I guess I'm going to get started on that. I'll have to drill 4 holes in the trunk to mount the bottle brackets back here, and then I'm going to have to run the line across the frame up to the front, so I'll have to see if I have some clamps for the line to clamp it up there, and that is dusty back there and dirty. So that's a plan. I just have a mock-up carburetor here, and I just basically, I've got the nitrous plate under there, and I just put 2 nuts and bolts on each side to bolt my bracket on so I could kind of get an idea of how I'm going to run it. One of the first problems I've encountered right now is this part of the line right here at the front of the engine is hitting my water neck. So I've got to try to figure out how I'm going to go about this. I may end up having to do something else with the solenoids and put them in a different location. I just don't know yet. I may just need to switch the red solenoid to the back and the blue one to the front because these lines that I have are pretty long. These actually don't come in this kit. This kit, it comes with little, I think it's brass or maybe copper lines, just little bitty things, and they're kind of ugly. So I bought all this accessory these are actually NOS lines, and they have the blue anodized for the blue, solenoid for NOS, and then the red is for fuel, and it has the red ends on it. So I need to kind of figure out the route I'm going to go here, but this other one has to go back here, and I've got 90-degree fitting on one side and a straight on the other, so I can kind of play around with this and move stuff around and see if I can make it work, but I may end up having to build a whole new bracket or something. So that's that's just what I'm going to try to figure out what to do. And I need to go through my box of spare ARP bolts and see if I got a couple of 12-point bolts that's the right length so I can switch these out. So that's the plan. I think I'm actually going to put some wing nuts, stainless steel wing nuts on here instead of nuts and bolts. That way it's not so hard to change it out. Boy, jet is loud, let me tell you. So I have other accessories I bought for this. I have a nitrous bottle blanket, and I bought a nitrous bottle heater. So there's quite a bit of wiring that has to be done. I'll have to wire up switches, and I have all that stuff too. I got all the a whole bunch of stuff down in there that I've bought. I guess that's a plan. So I'm gonna get to it. And this has been a head scratcher right here, trying to figure out how to do this with the lines that I have so I don't have to spend any money. I think I got it figured out though. I'll have to modify this solenoid bracket that I made, which is fine. I'm basically just going to cut this part off here and make it just the same width all the way down. And then I'm just going to actually add two with the same metal, same thickness. Add on some new pads to mount the solenoids to. So what I've come up with is I'm going to put the actual nitrous solenoid right about here, so it'll kind of come out the same as that there. So I'll have to add, you know, a strip of metal about a little bit wider than the solenoid itself, and I'll just butt weld it up to it and grind both sides and smooth it. But after priming and blocking it, it should look really smooth like it came that way. But it'll have a little, basically a little outcropping right here. So that solenoid will mount on that. And then I'm going to use these little aluminum line clamps here, like you use for brakes and fuel lines and stuff. And I'm going to clamp that line right here, so the line appears straight instead of having it kind of flex looped in. But I'll have to check and see if that clears my water neck. I'm not sure if it's going to clear 100% or not, but it should, because once I get it back to where it needs to be, I think, yeah, it's going to clear it. So that'll take care of that one. So it'll be a little bit further in. And then the actual fuel solenoid is the tricky one, because it has the line coming in from the fuel rail to the solenoid, and then the other one out to the plate. So I'm actually going to add a piece of steel to the end of this and put it right there. It's still going to clear my cold air pipe and my hump hose and everything, so I may have to move this a little bit further back, I don't know, but it just barely clears the HEI, which is not really going to do much. The further I take this toward the front of the intake, the further away that gets from the distributor. So I'm going to put it about like that. So I'm going to put a little heat shrink on this, and I may do that braided flex, the braided black loom that I'm using from my wiring harness. I may just put some of that on there to get rid of this stainless line, because I'm just not a fan of the old braided hose anymore. So I may just do that, and then I'll put heat shrink on the ends of that braided line just to make it look cleaner. But I think it's going to be pretty much something like that. And I may actually add on a little strip right out here off of this and smooth it all in, mold it in, and that'll be for a clamp for that line there, those two lines I should say. So that's what I'm gonna do. That is the plan, I guess. At least I have a plan now. I mean, it was getting kind of tough. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, guys, it's about 15 minutes till 5 p.m. and it's time to clean up shop and go in and shower and get ready for eating time. So I just roughed it in a little bit, and it's just basically so I can do some more mock-up. I didn't fully weld everything top and bottom, so I've got all these areas I've got to go in and put more weld on and then go back and grind again, but this kind of gives you the idea. So I'm going to go in with my burr bit on a die grinder, and I'm going to round this off in here to where it matches this round. And then I added weld in the corners when I was putting these pieces on, and I'm going to use the burr bit and go in there and round that so it'll have a nice curve to it and blend in instead of just being chopped off straight. So I rounded this one and I rounded that one, so the nitrous solenoid will go right up on the end of that like that. I'll have to drill some holes in it, and that'll pretty much go like that. And then this one is going to go out here on this one. This is kind of difficult to do one-handed for sure. Anyway, that's going to go like that. And then this little piece that I've got out here, I've got it cut. It's too long. I'm going to trim this end off a little bit so it doesn't stick out. But that is a spot to put two clamps, two of these line clamps here on that hose, which I'm probably going to do it this direction. And I'll make them match. That's a top and bottom, but this will kind of give you the idea. So those are little clamps, and I'll drill and tap the metal, and I'll be able to bolt them on there, but that'll keep the line nice and straight and look pretty cool. So it looks like it's going to clear my cold air pipe because it comes up at an angle. It looks like it's going to clear this line here, but I need to get it mocked up on the car first and just kind of see. But hopefully it does. If it doesn't, I'll have to probably just cut this back off and then do a drop down where it kind of comes down and then back out a little bit or something. I just got to wait until I get it on the car, because this may not be accurate because I'm using a Holly instead of a Demon for that part of it. So I think it's gonna be pretty cool. I've got this little it says nitrous oxide systems. It's a little badge. It's one of them little puffy badges. It's adhesive on the back. Really nice looking piece. And I think I'm going to actually put it on like right there. I'm also kind of thinking about maybe taking some sheet metal and just cutting a long skinny strip out and just go in there and weld that whole thing and bend it to where it fits all the way around, to where it has a little bit of a drop down, and do it all the way around. And then I thought about just putting this maybe right there, but the cold air pipe covers it, so I doubt I do. Probably just going to put it here because it'll be visible. I do have a fuel gauge that sticks up in this area that's on the Demon, so that's about the only place to put it. But that is pretty much how it's going to go. Man, I can't believe it was how many hours I put in that just trying to figure out the route I'm going to go here. But anyway, I'll probably end up welding or drilling some more speed holes to try to make everything match. I have to weld up these two holes from the old solenoid. I've got them chamfered on both sides so the weld will fill up in there, but those will be welded out, and then I'm probably gonna I might be able to get two speed holes in there, and then I'll probably speed hole this one too, a little bit smaller drill bit. I'll probably go in between this size and that size on this one. It just kind of depends when I get in there and get to messing with it some more. But anyway, I got me a bracket for my nitrous solenoids after most of the day. Golly, what a mess. Thanks for watching.